It is day 22, and we are about to begin a section that may come to you as a welcome change. Because rather than jumping around in time and always having to figure out, now who is this king and what's going on, instead, the next several chapters are going to tell one continuous story, so you don't have to jump around like that. And I know for many of us, myself included, that is a welcome change. Today we're going to read chapters 37 through 39. And in these three chapters, we're reading about what happens in the last 18 months or so before the fall of Jerusalem, and we'll read a little bit about the aftermath of the fall. The king, the coward king Zedekiah, comes to Jeremiah and asks him to pray for the city because the city is now under siege by Babylon. And then the siege miraculously lifts. And when the siege lifts, Jeremiah says to the king, "Make no mistake, Babylon will be back and the city will fall. You're not delivered. It's just, we're kicking the can down the road. They will be back." And while the siege is lifted, Jeremiah he tries to leave and go back to his hometown so that he can redeem a piece of land, which he does in chapter 32, a lot earlier in the book. But when he tries to leave, he's accused of deserting, and so he's arrested, he's put in prison. While he's in prison, the king comes to him secretly, all cloak and dagger, and he asks for a word from the Lord. And Jeremiah gives him the word from the Lord. He doubles down. The city is going to be destroyed. And Zedekiah says, "Well, I didn't mean that word. I didn't want that word from the Lord. I wanted like a good word, like everything's going to be fine." And one thing you're going to notice multiple times through these chapters is that the king seems to have a respect for Jeremiah. He comes to him and asks him to pray. He asks him for a word from the Lord. He seems to value what Jeremiah says. But then when Jeremiah speaks, the king either doesn't want to hear what he has to say, or he doesn't have the guts to follow through, or he just rejects whatever it is Jeremiah has to say to him. Now, when you get to chapter 39, you'll read about the actual fall of the city and the grisly end of King Zedekiah. You're going to read about how Jeremiah is allowed by Babylon to stay behind in the land with the few survivors who are left. Babylon puts this man Gedaliah in charge. We're going to read more about him tomorrow. Now, if there's one moment that stands out in this whole reading for me, it is in chapter 39, verse 14. Where we learn that Jeremiah lived among the people. And I can't help but think that for years he has been saying that those who go into exile, they're the ones that have a hope and a future. They're like good figs that still can be eaten, like there's still good things in store for them. But the ones who are left in the land, they're the bad figs. They have no hope and no future. And when Jeremiah is given the choice to either go into exile or stay with the people, he stays and chooses to be numbered among the transgressors. I love that. Today we're reading chapter 37 through chapter 39. Happy reading. Enjoy it. I'll see you back here tomorrow.